Hey everybody, it's me, Hazer. Happy Saturday. It's the weekend. Daddy's got a little bit of a hangover. I won't lie to you. Had a few too many tipples last night, I think, without having had dinner. Did the classic mistake. Always eat food before you go out. Don't believe that food will at some point materialize. You must eat before you leave. And that's my tip of the day. Anyway, today we're going to be having a look at the Jade Dragons versus the Camelot Kings, game one, and specifically driving down into what I'm dubbing and trademarking. You will have to pay me royalties every time you use it. That goes for you, especially Gore. I don't know why Gore's getting it this way. Anyway, we're going to be talking about the Beacon Boogie. The fight over the beacon. This was the game I found where both teams were the most invested in going for those beacons. Even game two of this game, they were much less contested. It was just this game specifically where we saw some big rotations and big value placed on it, not just in terms of gameplay, but also, in my opinion, in terms of the draft. So let's pull those up. So the drafts are fairly standard. There's a couple of unusual things and some characters who I think are good in this specific area of the game. So let's talk about those. I think let's talk about solo first, I guess. Raven seemed like an unbelievable amount better than Sobek in every area of the game. I think this was probably where the King's draft fell over the most, was this Raven just ran the game compared to the Sobek. But another place where I thought there was pretty big emphasis put on the beacon, at least, is this Atlas pick. I think Atlas, actually good at contesting the beacon, has good area control that sits into that area, both with his so dropping whatever the orb is called down, and controlling space with that, but also in terms of his ult is really, really powerful for fights in enclosed spaces where you have to stay in them. So I think he was a great pick in that respect. On the other side, you're looking at Anher's Pillar, really useful for controlling that space. You don't want to be slowed in there. It's like a 40% slow at max rank. I think it's crazy. And Zong and Terra also have that AoE control that helps you with that. And even Sobek to a lesser extent with the ult, right? The ult can help corral enemies out of that area. If you're lurking in the wars, you're really tanky and you're threatening, doing a decent amount of damage. Terra ult can hit lots of people in these enclosed spaces, and Zong ult going to be fantastic at both making him tanky, so able to stay in the area, and popping Terra ult and doing a lot of damage. So yeah, in terms of the way the comps came together, I thought that made a lot of sense. Both teams kind of picked to contest the beacon. Whether that was explicit or they were just picking good teamfight gods, I'm not sure. Hell as well, I guess another one to talk about, allows you to stay in that area for longer and sustain up and be able to win that war of attrition. So yeah, that's enough about the drafts. Let's get into the gameplay. I'll pull up the game and we can take a look at how these Beacon Boogies went down. So here we go. The Stygian Beacon is opening soon, as you can see. Spectator being a joy as always. In terms of map state, the game at this point is pretty even. A 1,000 gold lead for the Dragons. Items wise, I don't know if there's anything really significant. You can see that people get their backs in at this point. Both Nemesis and Raven back. And look at the other side, you can see 3 people marching up mid. Try and make it over to the beacons for the Kings, and PBM's on it from the start, so is Dardes, and now you see everybody start to amass. The solo laners and the junglers went back to base and rotated over. Neither had their TP available for this. ADCs battle out and start to make their way over as well, and you can see, we'll just do a quick pause here actually. You can see it's really interesting the way the map state is so mirrored. The junglers hanging out on the left-hand side around the Oracle camp, and then the other 3 grouping in there. Big Man a little more scared than Dardes. Dardes feeling confident in stepping up, maybe not worried about getting plucked as much as Big Man is worried about getting gone on by either PBM or Nika. I guess maybe the reasoning for that is Zong doesn't have a whole lot of recourse against Atlas 2. You can try and stun it out, or you can ult for knock-up immunity, but you don't want to have that ult kind of baited initially and the enemy team disengage with Hell, MS, and Cleanse, and then re-engage afterwards with your Zong ult being down and you becoming a very, very useless character. So yeah, let's carry on here. Here we go, 3v3. So the beacon works by whichever team has more people on it, they get it. And now you can see at this point, I'll pause again, Anher and Erlang have rotated off, Zong no longer really posturing, and at this point it becomes just a game for the Kings to say, okay, we've lost pressure around the totem, so what we're going to do is we're just going to try and make it take as long as possible so that we can make up for the... It's very little gold in XP. If I remember correctly, it's about 250 total gold and 300 XP at this point in the game. So that's about 50, just under. I think it's 48 gold per player and 60 XP per player on the first spawn. So yeah, it's not a whole lot of gold and XP. So if you deny some waves and stuff like that, the golden XP can be pretty much neutralized, but the 1% MS and the increased structure damage is the more significant thing, and I think that's why it's going to be pretty heavily contested. But anyway, you can definitely offset losing the totem by pushing around elsewhere, and you can see the way that I think in this clip I zoom in on Genetics at some point and show what he's doing. Maybe right here? Maybe I didn't. Oh, there he is. Yeah, we did it. What a spectator I am. But yeah, Genetics and Variety just making so it's like only having one person on the beacon to lay it as long as possible, and that allows Captain Twig and Captain Twig and Hardcore to go farm. Anyway, now we're on to the second one. So second totem about to spawn. You can see we skipped forward about another 6 minutes to around 18 minutes, and again, let's do a quick pause to show the map state. Teams have rotated over. Gold again. There's 130 gold in it. No, 30 gold. There's 30 gold difference between the teams right now, so very, very even. Again, you can see Genetic standing on the edge, using his deployables to make sure he has some space to play and can contest, and you can see that this time the Dragons were slightly faster on rotating. You can see the vote. I mean, you can see all 5 members of the Dragons on the screen in front of Genetics and Variety here, which is kind of crazy to see a grouping in this enclosed of a space. So you can see why AoE going to be important in fights like this. Relics wise, everything up for the Dragons. You've got Blink and Teleport down for the Kings. So very, very slight relic advantage to the Dragons. Let's see what happens here. Vote has no ult also, but that just comes up right now, just as I say. Again, teams grouping up, trying to see who can successfully secure this. Oboe doing decent work at this stage in the game in these enclosed team fights, and a huge, let's pause here. I love Atlas ult for this objective. I think it's so powerful. And you can see here kind of what I was talking about at the start of the video. I feel a little bit vindicated. And her pillar being a pain in the ass for Dardes and Vote on the backside, and Atlas ult, just this huge area of denial. You do not want to fight in Atlas ult. It just does so much for the team. I think that it actually makes Atlas a much better character, this objective existing. And also tanks being tankier is good for him too. But yeah, and then we see this Atlas ult. Let's just continue on here. Good Atlas ult by PPM. Brings a lot of space. I think Terra ult was used as well. Sunder, they step forward. Now Lurky in the water is used to control space, but Variety just is not able to stand up. I'd shake my camera in frustration there, I think, at the fact that Sobek is so bad. But another successful secure for the Dragons in another 5v5 on the beacon, which I found really interesting to watch. Third beacon spawn. We're forward from 18 minutes to 25. So another, yeah, it was secured at 19 something, I guess. So another 6 minutes forward. Again, let's pause and look at the map state. Full grouping around this totem. Hardcore not there yet. You can see, again, it's kind of mirrored. Hardcore and Vote are both coming from base. They're about at the mid tier 2s. But this time the Kings actually do have the advantage in positioning. First time they've kind of all been there first and all been set up first. 2k gold lead for the Kings at this point, so the Dragon's slightly behind. So let's see how they contest this. Relics-wise, nothing really to speak of. No Phantom Shell for Dardes, I guess, could be significant at no beads. No beads for Vote as well, actually. So this should be advantageous for the Kings, in my opinion. Let's see how this fight works out. E-Staff procs for Dardes, taking that health away. And then another pause there, but look at that Atlas ult. Look at how much that's going to reduce power and give you the chance to crush people down. That's a great ult. Just on this top side seems to be where Mike looks to place it every time. Such a huge AoE denial. And you can see, again, on the front side, Terra Pillar and her Pillar being used to try and deny space to the other team. As we move on, pulls Big Man back in, Nemesis ult onto Big Man. He gets pretty exploded. A great Terra ult. Zong ult there, I think, was used really late by Big Man. He does manage to trade 1-for-1. But I don't know if he could have lived otherwise. I don't know if it was up. Wasn't paying enough attention. But, yeah, another great fight. By PBM especially, and they run down Big Man. Lasper trades himself, and that, I think, is that. Am I doing another replay here? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm doing at this point. We're watching again. Maybe we're watching from Nika's POV to see how he crushes it. We get a better view of this fight. I think it was a great fight. Zong trying to get E-Staff procs, trying to get poked down. We could actually see Zong ult was available, so I think it must have been a bit of a misplay here by Big Man. Yeah. I mean, surely he Aegis instead of ulting. He Aegis before ulting. No, Big Man, you gotta ult Aegis there. Surely. Oh well. Gets crushed, and the beacon goes down. Nice play by the Dragons. I was looking forward to seeing how this objective affected the game, I guess. As we'll just go to... we'll make the cam... Can I do this easily? It's done. It's done. Maybe we'll fix it in post. I definitely won't. But yeah, this was the game. It's a new objective. I wanted to see how teams were contesting, and this was the game I thought where teams put the most effort into contesting it. And I thought that their comps were geared towards it as well, which is interesting. In other games, it's mostly just been like one team will rotate heavily for it and the other will say, okay, that's fine, you can have it. I'll push waves in solo, I'll push waves in duo, I'll deny you farm elsewhere, and hopefully make up for that, maybe going for one of them later on. But I feel like this was the game where both teams really valued the objective, really played for it, really drafted for it. And so I wanted to highlight it. I'm looking forward to seeing how teams work with it this weekend as well. It's Saturday right now, so we got some SPL today, providing servers come back up. Yeah, I think that's enough. It's a nice short one, hopefully nice and succinct. I know people want me to pause more and do a bit more preamble. I'm working on it, but today I'm hungover, so just give me a break, yeah? And like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, subscribe to me on Twitch. Don't subscribe to my Patreon or my Fansly. Or my OnlyFans, because I don't have them yet. Working on it. I'm not. But maybe I am. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. Bye. Love you.